Peace, family. Peace. Wow. Wow is what I've got to say. I'm kind of speechless right about now, family. I'm not going to lie to you. I just watched twice, as a matter of fact. I just watched Tommy Robinson interview a Shia Imam that yesterday on my opinions desk people were telling me to go and watch. And it was a real eye-opener for me. A real eye-opener. So I had to do a review on it, you know. I thought to myself, this was a very big thing that just went down. It was, to me, this is huge, what just happened. So I had to watch it twice, and I've written some stuff down. And yeah, I want to go through it with people, and I advise everyone to go and watch it. So first of all, this Shia Imam in this interview tells people to throw away the hadiths, basically. So the hadiths are nothing to him, okay? The hadiths are nothing. They say a lot of stuff about the Prophet Muhammad, like apparently him having a huge army, and this guy was saying his army wasn't that huge. It was about 3,000 people, and they basically made it seem like the Prophet Muhammad was some kind of great, general, when he basically had a very small army. Yes, over time the army gathered numbers, but yeah, they were basically saying that he basically said that, yeah, the hadiths are a lie. He was saying, stuff like when the Prophet Muhammad, where it says the Prophet Muhammad slept with 9 to 11 women in one night. He said, throw it away. He said, what kind of man, does that, and what kind of information is that? So when I heard him say that, I was like, whoa, And Tommy Robinson is looking at this man like, what you're saying is gonna get you, killed. And he's like, the guy's basically said he knows. He's already had death threats, okay? Multiple times people have tried to vandalize his car and all these kind of things. And it was an eye-opener. It's an eye-opener. He's been in prison, this Imam. He's been in prison in Iran, I believe, for his views on Islam. And he's a Muslim himself. He's actually a Muslim himself. And he's telling you all of this stuff. He was saying, in the interview, he was saying he cancelled 21 Uber drivers, right? Because they were all Muslim. He said on his way to the interview, he cancelled 20 Uber drivers because they were all Muslim. And he doesn't trust, his own fellow Muslims to not, either give his location or, I'm guessing, do something to him. I just thought it was pretty sad. I tell you something though, the guy had some balls, man. The guy had some balls. And him and Tommy were talking, and they were talking about sects of Islam. And they kind of came to the conclusion that the sect of Islam that is the real problem is the Salafi Wahhabi sect. They are the ones that are the quote-unquote terrorists. They are the ones that are doing the jihadi stuff. They are the ones that are doing all the bombings, all the planned bombings and stuff. And Tommy dropped some statistics in there saying that the average age now of a person plotting to do some kind of Islamic terrorist act is between the age of 17 to 24. And to me that was sad. At the age of 17 to 24 are your prime years as you're getting into your adulthood to try and see exactly where you're gonna go in this life. What are you gonna do? What road are you gonna take? What career chapter are you about to open? At that age, I know that was what it was like when I was 17 to 24. I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and it's sad to me that from the age of 17 to 24, people are not even thinking about what they're going to do, but they're trying to do something to harm other people in that way. You know, it's very, very sad to me. I've written this stuff down. The Imam says, well, Tommy was saying there are people in this system that think Islam can be reformed. And the Imam looks him dead in his eye and says, Islam cannot be reformed. That he looked him dead in his eye and told him it can't be reformed. Because he said, which is profound, how can you reform something that's perfect? It's already done, it's dusted. They've been told this is perfect. So to try and reform something that people view as perfect doesn't make any sense. And it's when he said that, I was like, well, there you have it, you know. If you think something's perfect and it can't be, you can't add or take away to it, and it is perfect, it can never be reformed. And that was like a light bulb moment, you know. It was a light bulb moment there. What was interesting is that the topic of Aisha came up, right? And everybody knows this is a very sensitive subject with a lot of Muslims, the age of Aisha, and the fact that the Prophet was 50 plus and Aisha was 6 when he married her and 9 when they had sex. And so Tommy talks about, you know, it's being paedophilia or child molestation, and the Imam looks him dead in his eye and says Aisha wasn't 6 or 9, she was 21. And so I've heard this argument before, and Tommy says, oh, I've heard this argument before. And he was like, why would they say she's 6 or 9? The Imam says, because they had to let you believe she was a virgin. So Tommy looked like the Christmas lights and his eyes went off or some shit, you know? Like, Tom was like, are you saying that Aisha got about? and the Imam was like silent, and he's basically saying Aisha was not a virgin when the Prophet Muhammad married her. But to make her a virgin in the narrative, they had to push her age back so young, right? To 6 and 9 and stuff like that. And he said that's all in the hadith, and he doesn't, you know, believe the hadith and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, I found that quite interesting. I found that quite funny, actually, that, you know, if, you know, all of this is speculation or whatever, but if he's saying that Aisha was 21 and she wasn't a virgin, which basically another man had her, then it would basically, you know, it would taint the narrative of Aisha, basically. So he's basically said they made up this 6 and 9, you know, age gap, you know. And it's like Tommy said, well, that gives way to a lot of, you know, child bride marriages and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, yeah, I know it does, but, you know, that's what they done. And the Imam also touched on something that I've always said, and he said, you know, he said Arabs, and he said he's not trying to be racist, he said, but Arabs, he said they're violent people, whether they've got a religion or whether they haven't. That's what the Imam said, right? He said they're violent people, whether they have a religion or they don't. He said these people are people of the sword, the people that are of the horse, they ride into battle, they do all this violent stuff, whether they've got a religion or whether they haven't. He said these are the type of people that were burying, you know, their daughters alive in the desert. And I had a conversation yesterday, as a matter of fact, before I even watched this, with another Muslim, and I said to them, do you understand that what you're basically saying, because they said that, you know, the Quran was a book that came down for all human beings to show them the way, and the Prophet Muhammad was, you know, somebody who was going to show people the way as how to be. And I said, but the people of the desert that the Prophet Muhammad came to were burying their daughters alive in the desert. And he's like, yeah, well, the Quran, the Prophet Muhammad came to tell them, you know, you shouldn't do that anymore. And I said, What kind of individual doesn't understand, whether a book or not, whether someone comes to them or not, that they're not supposed to bury their own baby alive in the desert, but a savage? What type of people do that? And who needs to be told not to do that? Like, because I said to him, basically, you're telling me that your default position is that of a barbarian and a savage, because you need to be told not to bury your own daughter alive. Like, who needs to be told that? And why is that an option? It's like somebody telling you, oh, you need to be told not to, you know, excuse my French, but not to take a shit and eat it. Who needs to tell you that shit? Like, that shit is just known. Like, you gather that stuff without somebody, you know, trying to tell you that stuff. I'm sure you gather you're not supposed to bury your own daughter alive in the desert somewhere along the way in your life without a man come say, hey, that's wrong, actually. You shouldn't do that. And you're like, I thought there was something wrong when I heard the baby crying and I was putting the sand on her. Like, I'm sure there was something. I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand why it was wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're telling me that these are the type of people that exist in your religion by default are savages, and they need to be told. And I've said to people on a personal level, the only people for me that need a book to tell them what not to do are people that are savage barbarians. If I need to tell you some real basic stuff, don't kill people, don't honor your parents. Who doesn't know that? You know, if I'm a child, regardless of whether I got a book or not, and I'm a baby and I've seen my parents, you know, raise me and show me love, the honor comes automatically. You know, I don't need a book to tell me to honor my parents. Like, you know, it's taught within society. You know, I already know that. But getting back to this Imam, sorry, let me just read this. Information. Yeah, the Imam said that that basically the reason why he still holds on, because Tommy asked him, why do you still hold on to the religion of Islam? Why, after knowing all this stuff, do you still hold on to it? And he was saying, for his own personal view about, went into the Prophet's grandson, I believe, called Hussein, and believed that he was a reformer. And he kind of holds on to the ideology that it can be reformed, even though he thinks it can't be. And I'm going to leave the link to this interview in the description, and I'm going to pin it to the comment section, just so you can all go and check it out. I think it's a very interesting interview, and I want everyone to kind of get smarter and kind of just see a different perspective on this religion called Islam, because it's not a thing that you can basically, for me, that you can blanket every type of Muslim with. And this is kind of interesting. The deeper I kind of researched into this religion, the more I realize that the sects within there are battling between each other. And it looks like from the outside that Islam is one conglomerate, it's one thing. It's like it's really not. Because even within their religion, they're trying to kill this man, you know? They're trying to kill him, and he's a Muslim. And he's only trying to kill him because, you know, he doesn't basically fall in line with the Wahhabi Salafi sect. I just think it's interesting for people to kind of, you know, get into, because I'm starting to see certain things, you know, are not what they seem within this religion. And basically the layers are being peeled off, you know, and things are being exposed in this religion. And it's interesting to me, you know. I wish that man, that Imam, safety, you know, because the stuff that he's saying, you just know that, you know, people are going to be after him. I mean, I said I myself have had, you know, death threats and people try to come after me, and for the stuff that I've said, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I just don't get the religion of peace slogan, you know. I don't get this religion of peace slogan when you're trying to put knives in people and cut people into pieces, you know. Religion of pieces, maybe. But peace? I don't know. But yeah, family, I just had to make a quick review of that. Go and check the video out. And I will catch you on the other side. Peace, family. Peace.